Hey everyone, it's Mel, and we are in our winter gardens. It's a lovely day, still a little chilly, so excuse the wind noise, but I just wanted to come out here really quickly and share with you all 3 reasons why now is a really great time to plan your spring and summer gardens. So, just 3 quick tips. Tip number 1, have my notes here. Now is a great time where you can actually see the bones and the structure. Oh, here goes the wind again. Of your garden, because winter strips away the lush greenery, giving us really an unfiltered view of our garden and our landscape. This is the perfect time, really, to assess our layout and our designs, and then really take a look to see, you know, are there any areas that's really sparse? Are there any areas where we can maybe incorporate more symmetry? Or are there areas where we might need to add or take away? Do we need more height, like we have back here? And speaking of our height that we have back here, another note is that winter is really great for our evergreens. This is the time where they really shine. It's so chilly, chilly willy. Winter is the time where our evergreens really shine. They provide really nice interest for us, and so we can also look to see, okay, where else in our gardens can we incorporate more winter interest? I have here arborvitae. This is the emerald green, and the row behind are green giant arborvitaes. But there are other areas in my garden where I don't have anything going on. So I'm going to take this opportunity now to look around and see, okay, where else can I incorporate? And it doesn't need to be like green giants, they get really big. But the smaller arborvitaes, these only get 12 to 15 tall and about 3 to 5 wide. But you may want to put something smaller, like what are those called? The little arborvitaes. I have them in the front garden. They're like tater tot arborvitaes, and they're more like a sphere shape and more down to the ground. So now is a perfect time to see where you can stick in a bit more winter interest in your garden. Okay, quick tip number 2. It's almost essentially a weed-free time. I don't know about you guys, but I get a ton of weeds in my garden, and sometimes they really like even overtake the perennials and shrubs during the summer and spring. Spring is when they come back viciously with a vengeance. But now is the time to also see that while the weeds are gone, the layout of the garden, where you do have problems with weeds, and how you can rectify that for spring coming up. Your beds are relatively clean during the winter, and so it makes it even easier to envision like a fresh start, right? And so without the weeds crowding your space, you have a blank slate to work with. And so this is the moment where you can really like sketch out your ideas and see how you want to plan out your spring and summer garden. You can also sort of think about, do I want, like, what kind of style do I want? Do I want a cottage garden style, or do I want it like more modern and sleek? Now's the time to be thinking about those things. To help with the weeds, because my weeds are sometimes a little stronger even than my plants, to help the weeds, I planted a few creeping phlox. So not the tall garden phlox that get like 3 feet tall. Creeping phlox stay along the bed line, along the ground, and they literally just like slow creep to try to crowd out the weeds. And so the first year I planted the creeping phlox, the weeds were still winning. They were winning. They were beating the phlox. But by the second year and the third year, the creeping phlox were really, they were stronger and just slowly dying out the weeds, killing the weeds. So I anticipate this year being the fourth growing season that they're in the ground. I may see very little to no weeds in the area where I planted. Another great creeping ground cover to use is creeping thyme. So not the thyme that we use in our herb gardens, but creeping thyme, the same as creeping phlox. They cover your ground area, help to smother out some of the weeds. But the really nice thing about creeping thyme and creeping phlox, they bloom in early spring. So it's giving you, before all of the rest of your shrubs and your plants, perennials come into bloom, the creeping phlox and creeping thyme start blooming these really beautiful pink blooms, and it just looks like, as I like to say, a really nice cloud of pink covering your garden beds in the spring. So try that. If you don't already have it in your garden, try creeping thyme or creeping phlox. So sunny. Oh my gosh. Where's my light? Third and final tip, although I do have a bonus tip in the end. So my third quick tip is why planning now is a really good time to do it in the winter is because you get to stay ahead of the game, right? And by that I mean, if you plan now, when the weather starts to warm up, not like today, well, actually it's a little warmer. It's just super windy. When the weather starts to warm up, you'll be ahead of the game because you'll have already pre-planned. So like write it down, think about it, write it down, look at books, look at pictures, what you want your garden to look like. And in doing so, you can order the plants you want before they sell out. Who wants to be planning and doing a lot of labor during the height of the summer? Because last summer we had a really tough summer. We had 3 heat waves. In my garden and myself really suffered from it. And I had quite a few, well, not quite a few, I had 2 garden projects planned that I was going to do that just didn't happen because it got so warm. And then by the end of the season, when things were actually starting to cool down, like around September, I was beat. I was wiped out. And so that project that I had planned didn't get done. That's okay. Another year, another season. So we'll do it this year, and I'll film it to show you guys. I'm going to make a brick patio. I'm going to attempt to make a brick patio. But that's what I mean by planning ahead so that you know what you want to do. I didn't decide to do that until well into the summer started. And by that time, yeah, too late. But that's okay. So start planning now. You can be ahead of the game. Bonus tip, now is a really great time to order your seeds. So your seeds for flowers, your veggie seeds, because a lot of times these really great seed companies that we like to order from, they'll sell out of like the popular seeds and flower seeds. So if you order now, combine that with your garden planning, then you're like ready to go. So I would recommend ordering your seeds now, and you can draw out your planting schemes and map out where you want, say, like your flower seeds to go, your veggie seeds to go. I ordered like 2. I was going to order a whole bunch of veggie seeds, and then I looked at my inventory and I was like, actually, I don't need to order as many as I thought. So also check your inventory. You want to use them because seeds don't last forever, right? And then the germination rate as each year goes by, please hold. As each year goes by, the germination rates for the seeds get less and less, right? So you want to use what you got. So I'm going to use the seeds that I have, but what I did do, I ordered flower seeds because this year I'm going to make my very first cut flower garden. So I just got a pen and paper. I measured the area of my cut flower garden to see like how much space I would have to know how many plants I can plant in there. So I'm very excited about that. So I got like the majority of my summer, mostly spring planning done. I hope those tips were somewhat helpful, especially for new gardeners. I didn't do that when I got my garden in 2020. I was just like, I don't know, I'm just going to throw this here and throw that here, but really planning a little. You don't have to be so meticulous about it, but planning a bit ahead really does get your gardening year off to a great start. So I hope that was helpful. Leave me a comment. Don't forget to subscribe. And yeah, thanks for watching. I can't wait to see what we do this year together in the gardening season.